now we can start the party. Thank you for waiting 15 minutes of that. That's the longest it's taken. It usually takes 5 minutes, but something's a little different with something's going on. Something's different with the program. There was an update with it, I swear. So tell me about how it's been since. So I'm sorry. Could you tell me your name?
My name is Megan Galena Fernandez of Foxtails.
Okay, cool, Megan. All right, great. Thanks so much for joining.
Please also tell me your name because I only know you as Punk Revolution now.
Yeah, that's fair. My name is Caio. So
nice.
Yeah,
Caio.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian name.
I know.
Okay, so there we go. Good. When did your album come out again? Was it like 2 months ago, 1 month ago? I can't remember.
2 months. Oh, it's March. So January. Yeah, 2 months ago.
Nice. How's that been going? I mean, I know it's kind of always a whirlwind when you release an album of lots of like very intense stuff that all kind of happens at once, and then things kind of like slow down as life kind of moves on and everybody else is moving on to I don't know, like what came out like What came out this week? There's actually been nothing that really has been good that's came out like this week. There was like a big release like 2 weeks ago. I don't know. The point is more music comes out and most people kind of move on. But this, your record is one of my favorites of the year so far. So I'm like have it on replay basically. So I guess I'm curious what you think, how you're feeling about it, how things are going on your end.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm surprised that it got as much buzz as it even got in the first place. I was kind of just expecting, like, like a typical Foxtails release, like maybe like it's talked about in like the screamo circle, that kind of thing. But like we got a Fantano review, and we got top 10 on Reach Your Music. We were like, we're charting on Album of the Year, and like, I'm just like, where is all this coming from? I'm just like, yeah, like wow. It's been kind of crazy, yeah. And I'm still getting like tagged in posts every once in a while. It's like, just like reviews of the album, and it's like always, it's like for every one negative review, there's like 20 more positives. So awesome. It's incredible.
I wonder what YouTube Music Critic review, was it my review possibly that got it going? I like to believe. You were definitely like early to the party. I'm pretty sure it was like there was this one person who we did an interview with who did it first.
And then it was you, and then it was Fantano, I think.
Yeah, I know. Fantano just watches my channel and sees what's going on, and
he's just copying you.
Yeah, this is a common thing he does, but that's fine. Like, I just hope one day he gives me the proper credit for basically, like it makes me very powerful at the very least, even if I don't get the clout he does. I tell him what's good. So
you deserve that.
I've been listening to Foxtails for, I don't know, like since 2000 maybe 18, which is not that long. You've been how long has Foxtails has been around for a long time, right?
2015.
So I was like pretty early. I feel like 2022 is your big year so far. So I feel like pre 2022, I'm like a true Foxhead fan.
For sure, like you're day one. For sure,
day one. Yeah. So that's what I mean. I was like genuinely very excited to see all the good press coming out. With the new record, like it was not like, oh shit, they're popular now. It was like, oh good, this like band that's been like releasing really good music for a long time is finally getting like attention. Do you have any idea like what could have been different this time around? Was it just basically you think maybe the music was better? Did you have like a more help from like a manager or label, or was it just kind of things just kind of got like lucky,
I think it's a combination of all those things. We signed to Skeletal Lightning for this record, and they're just amazing, wonderful people, just beautiful people. But also, like, they did, like, a good amount of press. Like, they, like, they support us very much, so it's very nice. But there's also the fact that like also this time around we had like better production. We had the addition of Jared on violin, which kind of added to like our niche, I guess.
Yeah, gave them something to write about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, yeah, no, it was very, very good. I was definitely excited to hear. Yeah, it's like I want everybody who likes this album to check out your other stuff too, because it's all very good. But I definitely feel like this one had like a lot of the stuff kind of align in a really good way for things to kind of like take off like this. Where did the decision to like incorporate the violin come in? Was that just like your friend who played it and they're like, all right, let's give it a try? Or you obviously throughout your discography you've been doing like lots of like experimentation and stuff like that, so it's not like totally crazy to have a violin, but like it wasn't just like one song, it was like almost the whole record really had like a lot of it. So
yeah, we actually met Jared at a show where in the city we used to live in. Me and John used to live there, and yeah, he was playing with his other band called the Post Valley Green, also a really cool band, like more on like the folky side. And like we just immediately vibed with him, and he's really sweet. He's an angel, extremely talented musician and artist. So I don't know, like we kind of like talked about like on Querida Hija, we had like a saxophone player, our friend Paul. So like the idea for additional instruments was always there, but like never really had the opportunity for like a violin until we met Jared, and like he like clicked with us instantly, like not only as just like another instrument, but like as like another songwriter. Like he really like helps to carry along the feel, the mood, the depth of the songs too. So once we actually like got that from him, we were like, oh, so now you're gonna stay and you're gonna do all of the songs now because you're really good. So yeah,
good move. That was a good move. It was definitely like I mean, like I said, your band has definitely incorporated experimentation and other instruments into the group, but like having that like the whole time was definitely like it gave it like a different vibe from anything else you've done. But it's like it fits very well, and like it's kind of got me thinking like, why aren't there more violins in like screamo and like post rock and like emo? I'm sure there are like once in a while, but like it's just such a emo instrument,
Yeah, like for sure. Like you got like Respire, you got like I Would Set Myself on Fire for You. You've got like that one project that put out a really dope album, I think like in 2020 or last year. What do they call Lorem Ipsum? They're really good too. I feel like there's a lot more bands that need more credit for like not only violin but like viola, cello, like the kind of like chamber instrumentation that we have. I guess like it was kind of different for us because we had it like very at the forefront and for like every song and like as another like form of instrumentation. So like just like as a part of the songwriting. So
yeah. I'm gonna ignore everything you said and tell everybody that your band was the very first band to ever incorporate a string instrument into they invented a new subgenre of emo. It's like ska, except instead of like saxophones, it's a violin. So yeah, no, it sounds cool. I like said in my review, and I still kind of feel like this. It gave like to me like a dark, kind of like medieval sound to it. Like, I mean, that's like very like chamber kind of music like that. That's not too crazy to have like a violin and it sounds like a little bit more like that. But specifically like it, like to me, I just remember like putting the first song on and being like, okay, I feel like I'm like charging the field right now with like a spear or something, like, I don't know what like was the main inspirations that went into like this particular, I guess in Foxtails like as a whole project. I'm definitely interested in hearing more about what got your band inspired to like write songs the way you do, like experimental screamo is like really awesome, but it's not. There's not like a million experimental screamo bands out there. There's a good amount, but not. And then also like specifically for this album, like besides the violin, which sounded like a very like organic thing, not like you purposely like we're like, okay, we're doing a violin thing. It just kind of felt into place. But like I'm curious like what other like lyrical themes and like more emotional stuff like that, and also maybe other bands that have inspired you, like what kind of like came together in this one.
Yeah, for this one, when we were writing most of the songs for this one, I was living alone, with John for the most part. And I need to sneeze. I sneezed. Okay.
All right, that's gonna be when I upload this on YouTube, it's just gonna be just a sneeze. Everything else is gonna be cut out.
Great.
I'll put distortion on it, so it's like. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was living alone for the most part. John moved in with me a little bit after I moved out. But like when I was living alone, I was like pretty much in the process of like figuring myself out. I was like, I just freshly turned 20. And then I was living alone up until I was I just turned 22 in November, 23 in November. Oh my God, I'm forgetting my own age. Wow.
I'm about to turn 26, so, yeah, I know. It's like, what the hell? I don't know.
You hit your 20s and it's like all a blur.
Like I started playing in a band. My band died when I was like 19 or 18. I was like, oh sweet, and then like I'm like 26. It's like, wait, what? Like, okay. Like,
it's crazy.
I don't remember what happened in between then, but yeah. Don't say it's crazy. It's not that big of a deal. You're almost there too, so. But okay, so you're 23 years old, living alone. First you said you were 20, and then you said you were 23, so I don't know what to believe.
Okay, all right. So what I meant was okay, in in like January of 2020. No. In November of 2019, I was living alone. I had moved out. Mm-hmm. And up until February of last year. So
okay, so basically COVID-19, like So we're gonna say that like you lived alone November 2019. We're gonna say that's when COVID-19 first came into existence. So clearly, like all the stars were aligning for like something pretty horrible to happen here, but it's gonna make some good music.
Yeah, pretty much what happened was like during that time, especially during like quarantine and stuff, I like took a lot of time to figure myself out, as you do during that like turning 20 kind of age. It's like very much so like, okay, who am I? What is going on? What do I do? What is my place in the world? That kind of stuff. So I was like pretty much analyzing trauma for the most part, because I have a truckload of it, several truckloads of trauma to deal with. So a lot of that time was just processing a lot of it. I read this book that was about complex trauma, which is what one of the terms that I learned from it is what the album is named after, which is the Fawn response. And it's crazy because I had heard, most people hear of like fight flight mode, but like people who survive complex trauma, there's 4 possible outcomes, which is fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And I had no idea what the fawn subtype was up until I read that book. And then I was like, oh, wow. Oh my God. That is what I do. That is me. That is what I do. So like then having that like sort of psychoeducation around that started making me realize and apply it to the rest of my life, like my relationships, how I act in conflict, how I tend to keep like cycles going, things like that. So the lyrical content of this album was all centered around that. I mean, it was a whole album in and of itself of like just learning experience and that type of thing. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, one of the best ways to kind of like recover from, difficulties with mental health for sure is to learn as much as possible about what's going on. And I'm definitely glad to hear that you've kind of had those resources to kind of help figure out that, the fawn kind of response. What exactly, if you don't mind sharing, like, could you break down? So I've heard of fight or flight, and then freeze, I can assume, is when you freeze. So what would you say like fawn is? Because I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah. So like, especially in just like, I can give a little context for each, just based around like a complex trauma, like abusive childhood sort of kind of thing. So like a fight response, is trained to like fight back, but like the most toxic way that it can manifest is like you're constantly fighting everybody. So like anytime you get into some sort of conflict, you're immediately like on the offensive, ready to argue, that kind of stuff. That's a fight. A flight type will usually deal with their problems by avoiding them altogether. They'll run away from issues. They will not create, but they will focus on smaller problems in order to avoid bigger problems. Or they can do things like, like being a workaholic, focusing on other people, focusing on other things that are going on, like politics, stuff like that. Anything that they can distract themselves with. A freeze response is more so like very much like couch lock, like drowning in TV, like just daydreaming the whole day away. Usually they'll, there's a lot of like substance abuse that happens there, although there is substance abuse that can happen in every trauma response too. But like it's more common with that response too. I'm a fawn freeze hybrid, as I've found out, so that's fun. And then the fawn response is basically when your childhood was at a point where like fighting was going to cause you more harm. There was no option for escape, so no flight option. Freezing was also really not an option, whether that be because of like just not being able to escape, whether you don't have like a safe space to be in, whether it's like you don't have the means to distract yourself, like anything like that. So someone with a fawn response actually takes it upon themselves to make themselves useful to the people who are abusing them at that time of their life. So a fawn will sort of abdicate, like they'll get rid of whatever their wants, their needs, their boundaries, their rights, like basically any kind of human need that they have, they'll give it away, they'll give it up, and they'll pretend that it doesn't exist in order to make themselves more of a convenient being, more of like a, more useful, and they only really exist to placate the person who they're trying to protect themselves from. So that's a fawn response. And that unfortunately results in a lot of cycles of like abusive relationships, a lot of cycles of re-victimization, things like that. So learning about that too helped me sort of recognize my friendships and relationships at that time too. So that's another theme that's really talked about in the album.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm definitely learning a lot from this conversation. My mom is I don't like to reveal too much personal information because my mom is a psychologist, so I feel like I've learned a lot about like a lot about different mental illnesses and everything, but I haven't really heard all this in depth about complex PTSD and the different kind of responses, and it's very insightful. And I mean, who knows, maybe there's someone on the Twitch who's watching who could find this information useful, or someone watching on YouTube who could find it useful too. And oh, by the way, if anyone is in the chat right now and wants to ask questions, you're totally welcome to, about music or anything. Yeah, I mean that's very like obviously there's a lot to say about that, and it definitely makes a good screamo album. So there's that at the very least. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like it, I don't want to like say that like, oh, it's so great that people go through trauma because it makes good art, because it's like no, it actually doesn't work like that. Like it's much better to just like make good music and not have trauma as well, you know what I mean? Like that sounds better. But I will say for screamo specifically, like if there's any genre where that can kind of come through in a useful way, it's screamo. So it's always good at least
that's for sure.
Yeah, it's always nice to at least try to like look at like the silver lining, if you can say. But and like I said, oh, by the way, I really like that the top you're wearing, that shirt, like it looks very, very comfortable and soft.
Thank you.
So like it's like both looks very soft, and also like the color is very like chill, so it's a very, very comfortable looking thing. Maybe it's itchy and I can't tell.
No, it's pretty comfy, so
okay,
thank you.
Good, cool. So have you gotten a chance with COVID-19 to like play any shows and tour with after releasing the album, or has it kind of been a little bit like harder to play shows because of COVID-19?
No, we've played a couple shows here and there, but
yeah, no, yeah, I think if I'm like, personally, my opinion is like, if there's reasonable restrictions with making sure people are vaccinated and all that stuff, I think it's fine to play shows right now. I mean, I played a show a few weeks ago with this the same thing, like vaccine requirements and everything, but at the same time, like I do feel like turnouts to shows has been lower regardless, just because even though I'm comfortable with it, lots of people aren't, which is totally understandable too. And I know some bands, even though, like I said, there's like the ability to like have vaccine requirements and masks if they'd like as well. I think a lot of bands, even after like releasing their music, have like cut down a lot. So I was just kind of curious to hear. You're in Connecticut, right? That's where.
Yep.
Cool. That's like screamo. That's the screamo state, I feel like.
Nah.
No, yeah.
Screamo is such a fucking niche anywhere you go. There's like no state except for maybe like Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Richmond, and you're right. Like there's like one screamo band per state. So and you're Connecticut. But I feel like it is like an East Coast thing mostly. There's probably some California screamo bands. There's definitely a lot of California screamo bands. Yeah, no, there's one per state. We're going back to that.
Yeah, we can go to that.
Yeah.
We can go to that assumption. Connecticut is mostly dominated by hardcore.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of what where my head was kind of going. Like I just associate, like, I mean, I live in New York City and there's like a ton of like New York hardcore, and like I just feel like Northeast has like a ton of hardcore, but not necessarily screamo.
Screamo's its own little.
The thing with screamo is that like it's a genre that like is packed with so much like talent and like complexity and experimentation for like a very, very, very small audience. You know what I mean? It's like you are gonna put so much work in. Like, imagine if you were just making pop music, if you're just making some pop rock, you know what I mean? Like, you could write like an album that in like half the time and get like 100 times more listeners. But we don't do that here. That's not there's no pop rock album called Fawn. You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna work. So
exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm curious, like, what kind of like fun stuff since you've released the album, like I know you've got like some reviews and you said you played some shows, like what I guess was like the most surprising fun kind of things, if there's anything that you can think off the top of your head that have like kind of like played out since you released the album?
The fact, Fantano, that's insane.
Yeah. But
like also just the fact that like our like on Spotify, like our monthly listeners, we used to be at like 9,000-10,000. We're at like 40 something thousand now.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Nice.
I think like Chicken from Outer Space, that song just hit like over 250,000 or 200,000, somewhere like around there. So just like seeing the numbers like go up and seeing like the amount of people like just people like recommending this band, like our band, to like other people, like, yo, have you heard of this band Foxtails? Like, you need to check them out, check out this new album. And also their old stuff is good too. Like, I've seen that like a lot, and I'm just like, yo, that's crazy, because like I feel like for such a long time we were like kind of like a cultish kind of hit band. So like we definitely have had like fans and like people that really like us, but like it was very much so like very chill underground type of stuff. But like I feel like lately, like since Fawn came out, we're like very, very much in the public eye. I saw like someone post a little infograph the other day about like it, like basically like a guide to screamo. And like the first slide was like accessible screamo, and we were there with Touche, with Loma, and a couple of other bands too, and I'm like, these are like huge bands, how are we like in this list? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So but I guess like that's also the thing, is that like people do regard us like as a bit more like accessible. Like I even saw one of my friends posted on like my Facebook profile, she was just like, congrats like for this clout, and she sent a screenshot of a TikTok that was like a screenshot of Seisha like on Spotify, and was just like, oh, like if I recommend this if you kind of like bands like Foxtails. And I'm like,
wow, I'm honestly I'm really disappointed to hear that I have an accessible screamo band on. That's kind of ruins the whole interview. Like, I'm kind of, you know, like, oh.
I'm so sorry. I know.
It's like you were cooler back in 2018. Now you're accessible, whatever. Like, you can sell out now. But, yeah.
I'm just cashing in now.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember though. Like, you were supposed to play at my band Died's.
With
like,
Died.
Yeah, like our
right.
That was May of 2020. That was our album release show. And we were excited to play with you because you were really. I mean, your music was really good, and like it would have been a really fun show. And like now it's even worse because now you're like the you know, you're up there with like the Beatles, basically.
No.
The Beatles of screamo, basically, right now. So yeah. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's my clout. Is like, oh, I almost played a show with Foxtails. Like, that's my clout. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Just hit us up anytime. We don't act big. We'll take shows where we can get them.
All right, I'm gonna be sure to set up a show where it's gonna be like my band, maybe my friend's band, and then you'll be opening. So.
Oh, dope! Yeah.
Yeah.
I really miss opening slots.
Okay.
You have no idea.
Okay.
I really miss opening slots.
Awesome. Okay, sounds good. And then everyone will leave after your set's done, and I'll play in front of nobody, but at least I can say it's like, yeah, it's sold out. It was awesome. You know, a room of 50 people. So that's my plan. Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of clout. That's always a good thing. You know, like screamo clout is kind of hard to come by, and you've got it, so it's well deserved. Like, you said you were a band since what? Like, you said 2015?
Yep.
And how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay, so it's been a huge part of your life, obviously. Like literally half your life, basically.
Yeah, like literally just about. Like we technically started when I was like freshly 15.
Gotcha.
So yeah, first album came out when I was 16.
Gotcha. How, like, and I mean that's great. Like, you know, I was talking to Soul Glow recently. Like, I was DMing them on Twitter because like I've been following them too before they got like really big, and now they're like really big, which is awesome. Another band that like deserves it because they've always been putting out like a lot of very good music. And I kind of asked them like what they thought like was like what they thought kind of happened that like led to them like taking off, and like I actually wanted like advice too, like about like what they like for me when I'm releasing music, and they told me that like persistence was a big part of it, that they just been doing this for so long. Like, people only know them for like a very small percentage of their like career. So I guess that's kind of applies here too, like 15 to 23, kind of the same thing. It's just like, you've always been putting good music out, but it just seems like the nature of like how it works if you're making punk music and hardcore is like you got to be really on your grind. So that's how many albums have you released?
1, 2, 3. I mean, am I counting EPs?
Every albums, 3 albums, or how many albums and how many EPs, if you can think of that?
I got 1 full length, 2 full lengths, 3 full lengths, 4 full lengths, 1 EP. 1 EP, 1 split, 4 full lengths. That's a lot.
That's a lot of music right there. But like, how much has the band changed? Like, obviously, like getting started when you're 15 and it's like 8 years later, is it like different members now? Is it just like, I mean, how, obviously it's different, right? Like compared to when it got started?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like when we started, we were very much on like the twinkly kind of side, more mathy. I definitely sang a lot more, because I was 16.
Yeah. I don't think I've listened to that era. I gotta go all the way back. Gotta find. Yeah, no.
I cringe a little bit, okay. But but it's mostly just because some of those lyrics are really good, but the other lyrics are just like, I'm 16 years old. You can tell sometimes. Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. But like, like I still think of it as like good, because there's a lot of people who really like that album. That album still gets bought like to this day. So I think there's some merit in it. But yeah, it was like we were really young. We were just figuring out our sound. We thought we were going to be an indie band at first. Mm-hmm. So we were very like Midwest emo, indie, twinkly kind of stuff. And then like as we kept moving on, like the EP that we released after that was very much like a transition kind of period. So we were like still having like the Midwest twinkly kind of stuff. But then we also had like an opening track on the EP that was like basically black metal. Yeah, and then after that 3 came out, which is like the fan favorite. And that album, I think like we were really starting to like establish like our sound. Like this is like what Foxtails is kind of like going towards. So like very like kind of like progressive songwriting, very like tension release, up down, lots of emotional changes.
Just like a real foxtail.
Yeah. Exactly that. That's up and down like a foxtail.
Yeah, up and down like a foxtail, tension and release like a foxtail,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. It sounds like, again, like just like kind of a pretty natural kind of way of kind of evolving. I mean, I'm sure there was lots of creative kind of stuff going, like listening to different music as, life went on and like different influences, but it all sounds like pretty logical. Like I mean, obviously Midwest emo and screamo are like, they're cousins kind of, it's like you can make the transition.
That's true.
So so what was like the process with recording this new one? Like, the production definitely sounds like really, really good. I'm kind of curious, like who you recorded with, what was like the recording and like mixing process, if you're like down to share that.
Yeah, we used to record with Will Killingsworth from oh my god, from Orchid.
Yeah. He mastered the Died album, so.
Yes. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's very good at his job. And also like a great person.
Yeah. So you were recording with him? I didn't know he was in Connecticut. I thought he just did like.
He's in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Well, same thing. So, basically.
Same thing. But yeah, we used to record and mix and master with him. But like he was very much so like more of like a hardcore guy, so he was very like minimalistic, simplistic kind of thing. Very good at what he does, but like for this album, we like kind of needed like a shift in like the sound, especially with like the violin added. We just kind of needed way more of everything. Mm-hmm. So we went to Steve Roach, and he was in Seisha and Off Minor.
Nice.
So yeah,
Off
still
Minor
in
is so dope. Off Minor is so dope.
Off Minor is one of my favorites.
I would
ever.
say Off Minor is like the number one band I would compare Foxtails to. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. So yeah, and he also super sweet dude. The setup was like pretty modest. Like it's like a whole house, and then like the basement is like the live room, and then he does like the studio stuff in the second floor. And yeah, we had him record and mix, and then we still sent it to Will to master. And Steve, like, we didn't know this, but he's like a huge Steve Albini fan, and it showed. And I'm like, oh, this is like perfect, like match made in heaven type of thing.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because it does kind of sound a little bit like a Steve Albini record. Like, I'm getting like some of the, I don't know, like tones in a weird way with the guitars, but. Maybe yeah. But that's really cool. It sounds, it's like working with, like, you're just like literally working with like the, like, Will Killingsworth, and then like Steve Roach is just like, this is an album just kind of just coming right out of the like screamo and hardcore kind of legacy in a way. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Was it like how long did it take to record?
About a week.
Gotcha. Just a very intense week of all day.
Very.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been there. It's not fun. It's like
no, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, but it worked. It worked out. So that's cool. Nice. I definitely want to check out other stuff he's recorded too, because it sounds good.
Oh, he's recorded a lot too. Like he's recorded. I think he recorded some Ampere project. He also recorded a Saddest Landscape project. He's got like a whole thing. His website is Permanent Hearing Damage. If you go up on that, then you'll see everything he's ever recorded. It's a lot. That's part of the reason we picked him too, just because he has so much experience with like so many different types of sounds.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, It is like a record. Obviously, it's like a screamo punk hardcore, but like it is also like a record that needs someone who like can handle like a big variety of stuff. So that makes sense for sure. You just released this record like 2 months ago, so I'm sure you're still kind of like soaking that in, and like. But I'm curious, have you like thought at all about like writing more stuff and like recording or playing more shows, or like are you kind of already moving on to like thinking about the next steps?
Yeah, we have 2 new songs written.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, and we're planning on, so right now we're writing for an EP, so we're going to do, the plan is for the EP to be like, kind of like paying homage to the original 90s screamo bands, so like very heavy, like the heaviest stuff, like the Foxtails motto is like very like soft, loud, kind of dynamic, but like this EP we kind of just want to be like all loud.
Gotcha. That sounds like fun. I'm sure I guess that's kind of where the why they say you're accessible is because you got soft loud, and now you're gonna release one that's all loud. That sounds like a lot of fun, and like I'm definitely curious to see how that turns out. I'm sure it'll be good. What's like the songwriting process? Is it kind of like one person has a riff and then you bring it in and jam on it, or is like someone like kind of write a full kind of song structure out, like kind of, or is it vary?
Everybody writes their own parts, so usually like our guitarist John, they'll have like a couple riffs here and there. But lots of times, like sometimes, like they will be like, I don't know what to go at, what goes after this, or like maybe this should go here, or like I kind of want to transition, or I don't know what to do. Yeah. And like the rest of us will be like, oh, maybe you could do this, and that. It's very, very collaborative and democratic. So like, for example, like off the new album Gallons of Spiders, that song actually just started out as a jam with me doing that bass line. and everybody just kind of built on it. So that was, and Space Orphan was kind of the same thing, except for like the very first part, which John already had written. Like the whole rest of the song was me directing that song because it was like bass focused. So yeah, it's like pretty much everyone can do anything that they want and they can like suggest anything they want. And then if everybody likes it, then we keep it.
Nice. That sounds pretty good. Like, I know every band has their own kind of way of doing things, and that sounds pretty chill. Like, I feel like it's kind of got to be like that if it's, like, you know, experimental music. It's kind of lame if it's just, like, I mean, you know, no offense to bands who do this, but it's kind of lame if, like, one person does it all, and then everybody is forced to kind of just, like, go along with it. How did the band get started? Because, like, 15 years old is a very young age to get involved in music, but also, like, emo music as well, you know? Like, I was in some projects when I was 15, but they were like we couldn't even play very well, you know what I mean? But whatever. They're like joke bands.
Hey, I was in a band before Foxtails, and like literally one day we were supposed to have practice, and our practice was going to the mall to hang out. And just talking about what we wanted to do. And there was this kid who was supposed to play guitar, but all he wanted to do was like Avenged Sevenfold riffs. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. And everybody else was just like, no, like, I think it would be cool if we did like a Metallica kind of thing. No, I think it would be cool if we did like a Florence and the Machine kind of thing. I'm like, what? And I'm just over here like my little like emo math rock indie self. I'm like, I can't do this.
See, that's gonna be the next Foxtails EP. Is just a bunch of Avenged Sevenfold riffs. That's what you said. It's like gonna be hard nonstop. It's like really just like diving into the sellout thing. It's gonna be like
totally like face first into the sellout.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be like Skillet, just like Christian. Yeah, Christian. Angry punk or Christian rock, angry rock. I don't know what you would even call Skillet.
Christian rock. I call them Christian rock.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I was just gonna say, like, that's like the classic, like, 14, 15-year-old experience of being in a band. It's just like fantasizing about your favorite bands and how you want to do that. Yeah. I will say, like, if you blend together Metallica and Avenged Sevenfold and Florence and the Machine, it's not that far from Foxtails. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, like, I know that wasn't Foxtails. That was like a different thing, but I don't know. Like, I don't, you know, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if that stuck together. So.
You're onto something there.
Yeah. If anyone is watching wants to, you know, get a
steal that.
Yeah, there you go. So. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's so funny. Like, the thing. So. Me and John and Michael, who plays the drums, we all met at the Regional Center for the Arts. So it was like a magnet arts high school. I started out my first year in music, but then I changed over to like visual art. But they both stayed in music. And that's how we met. Then that's how we basically like started there and like never stopped. Which is cool. And like the thing that bonded, like the reason that I started talking to John is actually really funny because like I was talking to someone, I don't remember who, I was talking to some person in like this big auditorium that's in the high school. And we were just like talking about bands, and I was just like, you've never heard of Block Party? And I said that like louder than I usually would have talked at that time. And John heard me from across the auditorium and like walked over and was like, you like Block Party? And I'm like, yes, I like Block Party. And then we started talking about music. So yeah, and then like we created Foxtails with like that idea in mind. It was just like we want to do like cool, like quirky, kind of like weird sounding indie, I guess. But like it just turned into something else.
It just turned into accessible screamo, which is like basically what Block Party is anyways. So No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
That is ridiculous, though. That like Block Party was like the starting inspiration for Foxtails. But
Yeah,
if,
for sure.
if you're 15, I'm not gonna roast you about it. But it is.
Hey, listen, do not come for Block Party
Okay, no,
like
no,
that to my face.
No, they're fun. They're fun. They're fun.
They're not only fun.
Okay.
They're not only
All right.
fun.
All right.
Silent Alarm is one of the best albums of all time, hands down.
Okay, you know what? I'll give it a listen tonight. With a more open. I know I've listened to it before. I was gonna say I will give it a re-listen tonight with a more open mind than than just I don't know.
They deserve that. They deserve that.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I just, when I hear Block Party, I literally just visualize like a 15-year-old in an auditorium going, "You ever heard of Block Party?" Like that's what I think of Block Party. Like that's literally like to me what I think. Like that's what the main context of Block Party in my head. But I'll give it another listen.
Yeah, no, Silent Alarm has like a lot of really cool like production choices, a lot of really cool like splices of different sounds. Every band member is so talented in what they decide to do too. The songwriting is really unique. The lyrical content and the like vocal delivery is it just hits so hard. And I'm not even just saying that as like my 16, 15, 14-year-old self. I'm saying that as a full 23-year-old. Block Party is an amazing band. At the very least, Silent Alarm is a perfect album.
Okay, I believe you. That is definitely they're they're definitely better than like Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a big.
But
compliment.
Yeah, for sure. And I also really liked System of a Down. Like, if it was like System of a Down type of stuff, then I wouldn't have even been mad. I still like System of a Down, but no, it had to be Avenged Sevenfold.
I like System of a Down now more than I did when I was in high school. So
interesting.
Yeah, so like my taste has definitely just gotten worse over time. So like becoming a music critic it's like your brain just slowly deteriorates as you listen to so much music that you're like, you know what? I just need some like Linkin Park right now. You know what I mean? Like I need some Linkin Park to like relax at the end of the day. So,
that's so fair.
Yeah. But that's a great story. That to me that like feels like the essence of like I don't know, like starting a band is literally just like enjoying music a lot and then like talking to other people who really like music and then just kind of like doing it. So, and it's very cool that like it's been going on for so long. Like a lot of bands, even if they've released a lot of good stuff, like it's not easy to be in a band for so long. It's kind of like being in like a relationship in a sense. It's like you have to like have all these people who are all like committed to this project, and like also inevitably there's going to be like creative visions that might not perfectly align, and then like you have to like figure that out or something. You know what I mean? Like, but it sounds like your project like seems like pretty like like you said, like democratic, and it like all works out without any like no like backstabbing John or anything. Poor John or what was that Ethan? Who's the violin? Jared. These are the same names to me. Ethan and Jared are the same name to me.
It's funny because I think his middle name is Ethan.
Okay, so I was right.
Ethan is his middle name.
All right, so that is basically Ethan. So that's his new name. It's like how
I'll let him know.
Yeah, everybody has like their stage name, and his is Ethan now. So yeah.
I'll let him know for sure.
I don't know if you did it in the newest record, but I know like in some of your older music, there was like some like Spanish that came through as well. Was there any of that in the new one, or is that
just titles? Just one. There's one title in Spanish. There's another one in French. But I do plan to bring it back.
Cool. Yeah, you gotta get that. That's next. The next is the world tour. You gotta hit South America. Like you gotta tap into that market. Like you're an accessible screamo band now. You gotta like time to hit the sellout button as hard as possible and get that international tour going.
For sure. I mean, there's something super fun happening. We're playing a festival in Spain.
Which one?
We're playing AM Fest. So I'm gonna be posting the announcement pretty soon, but it's already been announced. The festival this year lineup is Godspeed You, Black Emperor, Lingua Ignota, Cult of Luna, Caspian, Meat Puppets, Trico.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. You don't have to go through all of them. I will look at the poster and I will share it in excitement, even though I'm not going because I'm not in Spain. But that's awesome. Wow. And I'm going to I know you said you already announced it. I'm going to say that this was the first place you announced it. So thank you for announcing the official, real big announcement is here. You said you also put like French in it as well?
No, that there's one song title in French on the new album. Yeah.
Okay, so that's see, now that's selling out. If you put like a French song title, then it's like, okay, now we see what you're doing. But, yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, did you like grow up like learning how to like speak Spanish, or was it just like something that you like wanted to just do because it felt cool? Because like Di did the same thing. Like we started the band while we were studying. Like Alex and I were studying. We were studying abroad in Argentina, so we like were speaking Spanish a lot.
That's half of me.
Oh, you're Argentinian.
I'm half Argentinian, half Afro-Colombian.
Okay, all right. Because I'm half Brazilian, so like.
Yeah, so we're like mortal enemies.
But like, I don't know. I can live with like half Argentinian. We can live with that. Like I was about to like end the interview like, okay, delete, not.
Why is it that every Brazilian I speak to, like half Brazilian, full Brazilian, they're just like, oh,
because I studied abroad there. I didn't understand either until I literally lived in Argentina, and then I realized like, oh, this is literally just like worse Brazil. I'm gonna get canceled for that. I don't care.
That's so rude.
I'm allowed to say it because I'm Brazilian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. No. Buenos Aires is beautiful. It's a beautiful city. It's great. I obviously.
That's correct.
Argentinians and Brazilians are like so similar that it's like, it's almost like a dumb joke to like have them like clash. They hate each other because they are like so fucking similar and they hate themselves. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So well, that's cool. Like, so have you been to Argentina?
I actually just came back about 2 weeks ago. I went for the first time to see my family, and it had been 11 years since I've seen them.
Wow. What part of Argentina?
The city closest to me is Cordoba.
What's Cordoba like?
Very chaotic. But that's also because like there's like no traffic laws over there.
Yes.
So it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's same with Brazil, and like I think a lot of like South America, like the traffic is just terrifying.
It's wild. It's wild.
It just feels like at any time like a car's just gonna like go flying like across like in a movie, you know what I mean? It's like legitimately like I love
it's honestly terrifying.
Yeah, like I love South America, and I do have a good amount of like South American and Brazilian subscribers. So if any of them are watching this, like we highly recommend getting the traffic stuff a little bit more under control. It's gonna make everybody happier. We promise. I know you want to get there. We know you want to get there fast, but like it's gonna be better if you slow down. So yeah, cool. Well, I mean, I love to hear that you also have that like South American connection. What was your other half?
Afro-Colombian, so Colombian.
Oh, sweet. Have you ever been to Colombia?
Yeah, when I was 16.
Wow, that's cool. I've never been to Colombia. I'm assuming it's kind of a similar vibe where it's like kind of chaotic a bit, but
very chaotic. My dad is from Cali, so like one of the big cities in Colombia. So yeah, wild times.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's probably even more wild in Colombia than in Argentina.
Yeah.
Like, did you have any encounters with like any of the? I know some cities basically are like the territories are controlled by like gangs and stuff. I don't know if that was the vibe there or not. I don't know.
I was protected for the most part because I did go with my dad and my mom, and so yeah, but I did get roofied.
Okay, there you go, Colombian experience right there. That sounds pretty horrifying. That sounds really horrifying. I'm sorry to hear that, but you know.
Yeah, nothing happened. I literally I know that like my drink had something in it, and then I felt really weird, and then like I like threw up, and then I passed out. But like my parents were there, so like nothing happened.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear your parents were right there too, because that sounds very scary. But
yep,
that's kind of the fun of traveling to South America. It's like
it's like you're rolling the dice.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice. Like it's always a gamble, but it's just like so beautiful that you can't help but go back, and then you get there and you're like, why did I come back? Yeah, like I'm gonna die this week. So yeah.
Oh, that's too fucking funny.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I mean that's what's nice about having family there. You know, it's like we get to go and like experience like some of the most beautiful places in the entire planet that no one else can go to, because if they go, they're going to like get lost and like die. Like it's pretty awesome. So
it is pretty awesome.
Well, that's, you know what? I think that's everything. We really stopped talking about music completely. I'm gonna check the chat real quick. Someone said Brazil Revolution now. They didn't say Argentina Revolution now, so I'm down with Brazil Revolution now, though. I agree.
Wow. You know what? It's fine, because we're just hated. It's fine. We're misunderstood. That's fine.
Yeah, no.
I got love for Brazilians, though. No hate, all love.
You know, I'm like super like anti-nationalism. Like, get rid of all the borders. Like, we're all equal. But then like we can have like one like border around Argentina where it's like, you know, like that's kind of how I feel. Like, just to be very clear, like, there's something going on there. It's just like, we're gonna cut it off now. But thanks so much for coming. I'm gonna upload this on YouTube, and I'll share it with you when it's on YouTube. I'll edit it to make sure the most racist parts are completely out. No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. They'll see. They'll see how I feel about Argentina. Like, I can't hide that any longer. I need to make that public. Everyone knows how I feel about Argentina.
It's okay. You're like, the Brazilian gene includes hating Argentinians. It's fine. Exactly.
Like, she just got like genetic about it. Like, she's obviously more racist than I am. So like, that's, you know, I wouldn't go there because I don't believe that. But she crossed the line. All right. Let's close it before I really say something really stupid. Leave a comment if you like Brazil more than Argentina. We'll see if we have or if you like Argentina more than Brazil, we'll have a little fight down there if anyone's.
Wow, this is an eternal battle. You are continuing the generational trauma. Come on now.
I know, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm like so down. Like, if there's like a World War III and it starts with like Brazil versus Argentina, I'm like flying down and like fighting with Brazil. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm ready to like join the Brazilian army, like to fight in a war that has nothing to do with me. That's like where my brain is. Like, I'm like,
what did we do to hurt you? Like, what did we do to hurt you so bad? besides soccer.
Well, I mean, just, you know, like, I don't know. I dare you to live in Buenos Aires for 4 months. I dare you.
Fine.
Actually, no. But Buenos Aires is chill. I'm not gonna roast Buenos Aires. I actually have no good reason. I'm just like mentally ill, and like I'm also like brainwashed by like society into like believing nations are real or whatever. So, you know,
exactly, like, that.
I'm just There's no. I can't come. Like, I'm thinking like what went wrong in Buenos Aires? Like, no, that was like a pretty good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I'm just brainwashed. Someday we'll unify Brazil and Argentina, or something.
That's what we want.
Well, yeah, we'll yeah. I'm not gonna make.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Okay. I'm out. All right. Nice talking to you. Goodbye.
Nice talking to you.